A lovely good evening and a very warm welcome to our main news bulletin at 19:30 on Camnet TV. Let's look at the headlines. Load shedding aiding criminal activities in LUSAKA'S BARLASTONE area. The state denies committing constitutional breaches against former DPP LILLIAN SIYUNI. Government receives the draft public gatherings bill. In international headline, Kenyan company turning newspapers into pencils, cutting deforestation in the process. And in sports, former CHIPOLOPOLO captain ENOCK MWEPU recovering well. We have the details after this message.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for joining us to present the main news. My name is Louisiana Lupumwe, and other news in detail. Residents of LUSAKA'S BARLASTONE area have lamented that the prolonged hours of load shedding, especially in the evening, has since increased levels of criminal activities in the country. And now the residents spoken to have told Camnet News that community gangs who have been chased from the bus stops are now hiding in communities, and that whenever electricity cuts, they begin to terrorize community members by beating and stealing items from them. They have since pleaded with government to increase police patrols in the area, as well as renovate the Mwembeshi police post, which was vandalized by community members 4 years ago. We have details in this report.
Load management has come with its own challenges, such as businesses failing to function, while some junkies in LUSAKA'S BARLASTONE area have seen load shedding as an opportunity to commit crime against innocent residents. These residents have narrated that whenever power is cut in the evenings, junkies have been beating whoever they meet on the road and steal whatever they are found with, ranging from cell phones to money.
Nacho sako 6 hours. It's still on 6 hours because my light kind of 05, 12 hours ya bwela. Foot 17 hours ya bwela. Tiendo yaona mairo kuseni, foot short time ya branch yaenda. So nongo majanki bazaleka branch kuti bisa mira mtu mantemba mtu chani. Daily bamuna baenda kunshito ni 05 nao kairi bakamba tikunshito pina 68 mwafika. Manje mwe kuliri kuna nikutari nongo mwenda kuma good time still kuma pembe okukutari kutari uzanyamuka nongo 0530. Uzainda bwanji muri braki muja. Majanki wakupisa mnani daily bazimuna kupokewa mafoni kusechewa. Tizangala bwanji.
Kulivuto kuma paradise kuja kunyani. Alipa stream side kuja kuilo BS kuja. Baba na mafuaka mantemba. So oro karate oro siku so. Si oro kuchenga mbe 19 so. Uchache alo phone bapo. Baba mani bazi kudo come back.
Kuja kwenda mkudoenda usiku 21 hours 19 18 yosa kupoka
05 wenda
mwanji. Baba yokoche ze pepa choka kupoka patrol.
Others have also told this reporter that they regret having vandalized Mwembeshi police post, the only police post that was in the area, and have called on the Zambian police to increase police patrols as well as reconstruct the vandalized police post.
Apa pa Mwembeshi police apa. Isa tinambela ting police wama kwanza after 5 years. But pari manje iteni nga mu 8 years. 7 years ya pita. Mwaiona ka isa siona pona change ya government. Siona. Batiranganira ko basatike kuwaya.
Meanwhile, Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale, when contacted on whether there are any immediate plans to reconstruct the Mwembeshi police post, Mr. Mwale says community police posts are usually a responsibility of the community and has since appealed to community members to rehearse with the relevant authorities and see how they can work together in reconstructing the vandalized community police post.
Community should initiate, because you see, these community police posts, by the end of the day, it's members of the community who destroy and demolish them again. So if members of the community are seeing that crime is rising, they should approach us so that we put our heads together and then we see how we can march forward. But as it is, we call upon members of the community to initiate the plan, because they are called community police posts. They own them. They are in their hands.
For now, these residents have called on government to stop load shedding compounds in the night, as it has been encouraging criminals to take advantage of the dark.
Affected due to this darkness which is happening. So please, we are appealing to the MP, Honorable Mao Sampa, and the Councillor, Mr. Crispin Kawore, to come on board and help us. Otherwise, we are living in danger. We are living as if it is not our country.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Thank you, Prudence, for that report. Now, Chipata Big Market Vice President or Vice Chairperson Gilvas Zimba says the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development should consider elevating selected markets, including some notable ones in communities, to modern markets as one way of dealing with the existing trading space deficit in the country. Speaking to Camnet TV News, Mr. Zimba says doing this will attract traders as well as to sell in these facilities as opposed to the streets, and will also attract buyers as the markets will be a one-stop center. Meanwhile, in a separate interview, Industrious Youth Executive Director Nature Ntaakakuya says in the meantime there is need for civic leaders to ensure that markets within their areas have working toilets and running water, noting that the sanitation situation in most markets is pathetic. We have details in this report.
Markets, apart from being a source of income for many Zambian citizens, are also a convenient place for consumers, as they have an opportunity of choosing fresh and dry foods from various traders. The market sector in Zambia has, however, been far from simple, but has become one of the most complicated and politicized public facilities. The alleged lack of adequate trading spaces has given birth to street vending, which has always been opposed by local authorities, as street vendors have no toilets on the streets or proper ways of waste disposal. Others argue that the lack of space is not a genuine excuse, as some markets have been abandoned. LUSAKA'S Chipata Big Market Vice Chairperson Gilvas Zimba says it is time for local authorities to consider modernizing selected existing markets to keep traders in these places, stating that modernizing the markets will also attract customers.
So government ike konzeru kubweresa bantu ma market kuti vasevenzera pamoja. By so doing, na business bantu wazambo gula mzamu akabwera market sabwera for one item, azabwera for grepo nguba grepo chinachi. But what is going to do now? You will need to buy another extra. Yes, now by putting those people kuja wakabwera kulusaka na market.
Meanwhile, Industrious Youth Executive Director Nature Ntaakakuya has spoken out on the problem of poor sanitation in many markets, stating that this needs to be addressed using the 2023 Constituency Development Fund.
And today, the shelters in most in our communities, you find that the markets, they don't have running water, don't have proper toilets, no electricity. It is the deliberate move the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development using its acts of according to number 25B, Constituent Development Acts of Act number 8 of 2018, which says the minister has got the power to instruct that some amount of the CDF should be instructed to such development. It is a deliberate move the government said to say that CDF money should make sure that the markets have got running water, the markets have got power, the markets have also have got proper toilets.
It is hoped that sanity will be quickly restored to the market sector, as it is the source of livelihood for many Zambians. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Moving on in the news, a state witness who was expected to testify in a criminal case in which Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda is accused of defamation of the president failed to appear before court. When the matter came up for continued trial, the state informed the court that the only witness has traveled to Zimbabwe for national duties. Meanwhile, Mr. Nakachinda has charged that the international trip to Abu Dhabi by President Hakainde Hichilema will not yield any positive results. Mr. Nakachinda has questioned the international trips by the president, stating that they are shocking and have not produced any meaningful results. He was speaking shortly after his case was adjourned. More in this report.
The opposition Patriotic Front has condemned the continued foreign trips being made by the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema. The party, through its Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda, says the movement by the head of state is shocking because they have not produced any meaningful result. Mr. Nakachinda said this shortly after his court appearance. Earlier, the court adjourned his defamation case on ground that the state witness who was scheduled to testify has traveled to Zimbabwe for national duty.
By closing Ndeni and going to promote refinery plants in Angola is basically exporting jobs. Our people here are yearning for opportunities for them to work and utilize their skills, but all those opportunities are being robbed from them. The president has gone to Abu Dhabi. We don't know what else is going to export there. We are very sure it is exporting more jobs because of the fact that the mentality you expect of a head of state that will guarantee smart protection of jobs in your country, opportunities for people to make money, production and so on. When those opportunities are taken to other countries by way of signing agreements that favor foreign countries in terms of production, I think it's very unfortunate. So for us, we are waiting whether we're going to be fed some more lies from Abu Dhabi the way we are fed with lies from Angola. Because
recently, the United Party, through its alliance partners, said various stakeholders, especially those in opposition, should go easy on condemning foreign trips being made by the president, as they were helpful to forge international relations and benefit the country in several ways.
All we know that the president, Hakainde Hichilema, declared as the chief marketing officer of this country. For some of us that understand his way of doing things, we are aware that obviously his trip to Abu Dhabi is well mated with the grappling of the energy sector. So we know that he is going to obviously lobby far much more that our energy sector, which we are supposed to build up for the future. If the previous governments had invested so much in the energy sector, we wouldn't be going through what we're going through today. So for me, I think we need concerted efforts from all facets of potential investors that could come and invest in the energy sector.
Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The state has denied committing alleged constitutional breaches that dismissed Director of Public Prosecution LILLIAN SIYUNI claims the Judicial Complaints Commission committed when it was hearing complaints lodged against her by various members of the public for professional misconduct. This is in a case in which Ms. SIYUNI has petitioned the Attorney General seeking an order that the decision to communicate the President's refusal to grant her a waiver of her oath of silence in a letter dated August 4th, 2022 is in breach of Article 93, Section 1 of the Constitution and has no legal effect. More in this report.
The state has responded to a petition filed by former Director of Public Prosecution LILLIAN SIYUNI before the Constitutional Court. Ms. SIYUNI, who has filed a petition in the Constitutional Court challenging the process which led to her removal from office, has cited the Attorney General and seeks an order that the decision by the Attorney General to communicate the President's refusal to grant her waiver of her oath of silence in a letter dated 4th August 2022 is in breach of Article 93(1) of the Constitution and has no legal effect. The petition has alleged that the Judicial Complaint Commission, JCC, committed constitutional breaches in hearing complaints lodged against her by various members of the public for professional misconduct. However, in response, the state has denied allegations of constitutional breaches and has further told the Constitutional Court that Ms. SIYUNI is not entitled to any of the relief sought. The state has also dismissed claims that the JCC was biased during its hearing. According to the submissions filed before court by the state, it says that throughout these proceedings there was quorum and therefore the petitioner was not prejudiced. The state says pursuant to Section 27(2) of the Judicial Code of Conduct, the Commission acted within its powers to call its own witnesses, and that the Commission cannot be said to have openly favored the complainant nor prejudiced the petitioner. Ms. SIYUNI is seeking an order that for the purposes of hearing pursuant to Article 144, subsection 4A of the Constitution, the JCC did not form a proper quorum and a disciplinary hearing is now void. President Hakainde Hichilema recently removed Ms. SIYUNI from the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Her removal followed recommendations contained in the report presented to the head of state by the Judicial Complaints Commission against her that the commission had found of gross misconduct. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Social scientist Innocent Kolala has observed that disinterest among some public health workers is leading to lapses in the drug supply chain. Mr. Kolala is concerned that the drug problem has persisted for a long time, thereby undermining the delivery of health services as patients are only being prescribed medication. Mr. Kolala notes that public health workers is involved in the drug supply chain and are not doing their work accordingly, especially as the government has set aside a lot of resources on drug procurement. He has therefore challenged the Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency, ZAMSA board, to come out of the comfort zone and make sure that the issue of drugs is sorted once and for all.
Where is the problem? The problem is not the government. The problem is not His Excellency the Republican President. Neither could it be the problem of the Minister of Health. Not at all. But the problem should be for those who are managing these resources. These resources have been released. Where is ZAMSA board? Where is ZAMSA management? Where are those who are supposed to support to ensuring that they procure and acquire these medications, these drugs as well as medical supplies? These are some of the issues which we always talk about. The inertia of certain employees in this organization are the ones which are even letting down the proactiveness of His Excellency our Republican President as well as his government of trying to ensure that they give it to the Zambian people what is required to them. We are once again appealing to the institution ZAMSA. ZAMSA, it is no longer now a limited institution. No, it's now a board which is run by the board members. These are some of the issues which we always talk about. Honorable Minister, help us. If you have realized that these board members are not helping your office as well as helping the office of the president and the office of the Zambian people, please put up the people who are going to help us by ensuring that they provide medication, they provide drugs to the Zambian people. The issue of drugs is a reality in all these health centers, in all these hospitals where we go, especially the government institution, is a reality, is prescription after prescription when the government has released a lot of money.
Education Minister Douglas Siyakalima says the challenge of overcrowding in schools that has come with free education policies being worked on by government. Speaking when he handed over 250 desks at Chibolopolo Combined School in Lusaka Monday morning, Mr. Siyakalima says the overcrowding in schools is a sign that free education is a blessing to many vulnerable children who never had an opportunity to be in school. Meanwhile, school head teacher Grace Kaila says the schools houses more than 3,500 pupils against 500 desks and has thanked government for prioritizing the school in benefiting from the desks that government has flagged across the country. More in this report.
The introduction of free education by the UPND administration has come with its own challenges, such as overcrowding in schools, as well as lack of desks, which has been prompting many learners to sit on the floor. A Ministry of Education has commenced the process of distributing desks in schools to ensure that the challenges associated with lack of desks is resolved. Chibolopolo Combined School in Lusaka is among the schools that has received the desks, and Minister of Education Douglas Siyakalima was on the ground to physically distribute the desks to the school. The minister, in his address, encouraged pupils to not look down on themselves simply because they come from densely populated areas, but take free education as an opportunity to get an education.
HH has said, I am looking for an engineer from Chibolopolo. Yes. Okay? These shortcomings of electricity, they are just a small thing. We neglected this for over 10 years. Some of you were PF, what were you doing? You must be ashamed of yourselves. Yes. For 10 years, you couldn't work. When we told you we are going to give free education, you were saying, where is he going to get the money? Aren't you experiencing it now?
Meanwhile, school head teacher Grace Kaila is happy that the school has received desks, adding that the introduction of free education has seen increased enrollment of pupils.
3,678 learners. That for me interprets that the 427 desks that we have in each class 40 desks, and for this issue it is first come first serve. Our learners are more than the desks that we have in school. So for those who are latecomers, usually they don't find it easy for them to sit on the desks.
Meanwhile, Lusaka District Education Board Secretary Ian Miyoba has thanked government for fulfilling its promises of ensuring that children have desks.
Chibolopolo Combined School chifukwa government yanu yapwelesa madesk
Since the launch, Honorable Minister, we are proud as PEOs to report that the wheel has been moving. The desks have been going around the country, especially here in Lusaka. We have been the great beneficiaries of the project that you launched a few months ago.
And the area councillor Monty Chinkoli says his office has already budgeted to buy 3,000 desks for the entire constituency and construct more classroom blocks on schools that are overpopulated using the Constituency Development Fund. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Zambia Law Development Commission, ZLDC, has handed over the Public Order Act, now renamed as the Public Gatherings Bill, to the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security amid pressure from civil society organizations to do so. Speaking after receiving the bill, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Jack Mwembu, says the advancement of the bill shows the commitment by the current administration to respect human rights, as the Public Order Act has been known to be used by ruling governments to curtail human rights, among them the freedom of assembly and association. The minister further says he is confident that the draft bill is all-inclusive, as various stakeholders, among them civil society organizations, the church and other stakeholders, gave their submissions. More in this report.
The Public Order Act POA is one law that has been topical since the United Party for National Development UPND came to office in August 2021, as they vowed to ensure that it is reformed and does not hinder democracy, alleging to have been victims of this law during previous administrations. In 2022, a number of meetings were held where different stakeholders gave their views and proposed alternative reforms to ensure that the law, which borders on regulating public gatherings, respects human rights. Since completing the validation process and handing over the proposed bill to the Zambia Law Development Commission ZLDC, stakeholders have been complaining about the seeming slowness by the Commission to hand over the bill to the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security, stating that this was slowing the process of the Act being reformed. Monday, 16th January 2023, the Zambia Law Development Commission has finally handed over the bill to the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security and the said ministry to the Ministry of Justice for submission to Cabinet. Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwimbu was speaking after officially receiving the bill.
The process out which is being handed over to the ministry today will enable the New Dawn government fulfill its promise to the people of Zambia and aid the resolve to repeal and replace the Public Order Act with a legislation which facilitates the enjoyment of the fundamental right to freedom of association and assembly. The outcome will ultimately benefit the rights holders and the general public, as it will decisively deal with the major challenges related to the application and enforcement of our current Public Order Act.
Meanwhile, Minister of Justice Mulambo Haimbe has also spoken out.
The report of the Public Order Act, the report on the review of the Public Order Act and the proposed draft Public Gatherings Bill 2023, which the Commission has handed over to government today, demonstrates our commitment towards promoting the foregoing. The Ministry of Justice will remain committed to supporting the work of the Zambia Law Development Commission in legal review generally.
ZLDC Vice Chairperson Munukuyumbwa Munyima has also spoken on the bill.
Your written oral submissions have made it possible for the Commission to aptly complete this law review process. Your respective contributions are what has brought us this far.
Appeal to the Ministry of Justice and Cabinet to expedite the process of undertaking other legislative internal processes so that there is no further delay in the manner in which, or in the time frame within which the gatherings bill is to be submitted to Parliament, so that it goes through various legislative processes and ultimately enacted into law.
The POA was also renamed to the Public Gatherings Bill in hopes of promoting proper regulation with minimum force. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
This is the main news on Camnet TV. Just now we'll take our first set of commercials. When we get back, we have more local stories. Do join us shortly.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
On Monday, 16th January 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest Ngande Mwanajiti, the human rights defender, lawyer, and activist. As they discuss the role of civil society in governance.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. The Judicial Complaints Commission, JCC, has acknowledged receiving an official complaint from Patriotic Front presidential aspirant, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba. Earlier Monday morning, Mr. Mwamba presented his petition to the Commission, where he has cited the Chief Justice Honorable Mumba Madila and Supreme Court Justice Honorable Jones Chinyama for alleged professional misconduct and bias. Mr. Mwamba complains that in the hearing and determination of the corruption appeal case of former Minister of Finance Dr. Katele Kalumba and 3 others involving payments made in a secret intelligence account, the ZAM troop and the 2 justices should have recused themselves. JCC Secretary Mr. Naisa Makeleta acknowledged receipt of Mr. Mwamba's letter of complaint. He stated that the complaint will be tabled before the Commission for consideration. He disclosed that the 2 dealt with similar detailed facts of the secret accounts when they previously served as Attorney General and Lusaka Magistrate, respectively. Mr. Mwamba stated that the principles guiding recusal should have been evoked and applied, and 2 justices should have excused themselves from adjudication the appeal case.
When this matter came on appeal for Katele Kalumba and 3 others, the 2 judges among the 3 that sat, the 2 should have recused themselves. This is a demand of the law, it's a demand of Supreme Court rules, it's a demand of the Judicial Code of Conduct. They should have recused themselves, but they proceeded to preside over the matter. They proceeded to hear the matter and determine the matter. I think that this is a serious matter of professional misconduct. I actually anchor my complaint on the address by Honorable Mumba Madila himself when he addressed the judiciary, and support staff shortly after he was sworn in. He gave a remarkable speech in which he said the judiciary, under his ambit and under his authority and under his direction, will administer justice in a fair manner, will restore credibility, because the judiciary had lost credibility. He said he would restore credibility. And he said the administration of justice, the powers of the courts, all hinge on the respect and the esteem in which ordinary people hold the judiciary. If we hold it in contempt, the courts lose power. I anchor my complaint against him and Honorable Jones Chinyama just on his very words, because he gave hope to many that for the first time we'll have an admirable judiciary that's professional, that is absent of misconduct, and the administration of justice will be fair.
The Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Kennedy Kalunga has expressed concern over the well-being of Chipata Mayor George Mwanza, who was hospitalized at Kalindawayo General Hospital after he was involved in an accident on 12 January 2023. Speaking when he paid him a visit at the hospital, Mr. Kalunga has assured the Chipata Mayor of the nation's support and prayers. The mayor is among the 3 survivors of the accident along Great East Road that claimed 1 life and is currently nursing a painful chest and a cut on the forehead. The Chipata mayor is now in Lusaka, where he was evacuated by the Zambia Flying Doctor Service for specialized treatment. Another permanent secretary was joined by other officials from the United Party for National Development, among them Party National Trustee Grace Kaluwe, among others. Siyavonga Town Council Chairperson Given Kwapu says the local authorities equal to the task in terms of administering the 28.3 million Kwacha Constituency Development Fund CDF. Mr. Kwapu was speaking during the monitoring of CDF projects in Siyavonga constituency in company of the Member of Parliament Darius Mulunda, Council Secretary Cholwe Maunga, CDF Chairperson Lubinda Mubiana, engineers from the Council, planner from District Education Board Office, Ministry of Infrastructure, and officers from the Office of the President. The Council Chairperson has stated that local authorities have demonstrated that they are the only center points where development can be actualized, unlike the doubts that came from some sections of society that allowed that councils cannot handle huge amounts of money. And the Siyavonga Member of Parliament, Mr. Mulunda, expressed gratitude in the manner in which the 2021-2022 CDF projects are progressing in his constituency, citing development as his core focus for the district. CDF Chairperson Mr. Mubiana Luwinda said there was urgent need for the district to receive the CDF vehicle, which will make it easier to monitor CDF projects frequently, because lack of timely monitoring of projects can result in poor working quality.
To receive again the 28 point, whether it's 5 million, which is coming. There are those who had doubted the local authorities across the country that they were not ready to receive such a huge sum of money. Here we are ready to demonstrate that the local authorities are the only center points where development can really be actualized.
I should mention here that our Works Department, I think as a team and CDF team on the monitoring part, the transport issue, I think, becomes cardinal in terms of monitoring. So for us to have the constant visits of these projects, I wish to comment that I hope our vehicle, the CDF vehicle, will be in soon, so that this will facilitate and speed up our monitoring and the frequency of our monitoring to make sure that we have quality jobs that are done by our contractors on time. Because this delay in visiting, I think, might compromise the quality of the jobs that are there. But all in all, the projects and the contractors that are doing both local and those that are coming outside, I think they're doing a wonderful job. And we commend our local authority.
That we beat the time. And besides, even as we are putting up classroom blocks, we have procured 920 desks, so that no one, even as we hand over classroom blocks, we want to hand over classroom blocks together with the desks, so that our children will be able to learn in very good learning environments. And that's what we are looking for. I thank you, and I urge everyone, elected leaders, councillors, the council chairperson, the council staff, members of staff, the works department, the engineering department, the finance department, above all, the person that supervises the council secretary. We can just appreciate you and
we take our last set of commercials. When we get back, we have the rest of the stories.
You know, I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
On Monday, 16th January 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest Ngande Mwanajiti, the human rights defender, lawyer, and activist. As they discuss the role of civil society in governance.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98, and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back, and now the rest of the news. In international news, Momo Pencils, based in Athi River, Machakos County, came up with an effective way to reduce the number of trees cut down every year to make simple writing pencils. The company, headed by brothers Muhammad Omari and Rashid Omari, sources its raw materials, in this case glue and old newspapers, locally. They currently import the graphite. Now, according to CEO Muhammad Omari, the old newspapers cost them just 70 Kenyan shilling to 100 Kenyan shilling per kilogram. He says the price of the finished product depends on the quality and quantity, but it ranges from 15 Kenyan shilling to 50 Kenyan shilling per pencil. Now, pencils are an important part of life. They are used for sketching, drawing, and in schools. The United Nations says some 8 million trees are cut down every year to make pencils, contributing to deforestation. Here's a roundup of international news.
An estimated 8 million trees are cut down every year to make simple pencils. A Kenyan-based company known as Momo Pencil came up with an effective way to reduce the number of trees cut down every year to make simple writing pencils. They believe this is the way forward to help address the climate crisis.
If you look at the present day, we are suffering from climate action, and the best way is to reduce the number of trees that are cut for any purpose. So for that matter, 82,000 trees that are cut every year to make pencils, we provide an alternative. We take the newspaper and then turn it into a viable product, which is a pencil, providing an option for those people to use instead of the wooden pencils.
The process of making pencils starts with the newspaper collection. The newspaper are then cut into the right size, then graphite is glued to the pieces. The pieces of newspaper and graphite are then put into a roller which rolls and compresses them into pencils.
In the next 5 years, as Momo Pencils, what we want to do is to provide an option to be able to get into the market. We want each and every child in Kenya who goes to school to use our pencil and at the same time be able to plant a tree through our pencil. That way we'll reduce the number of trees cut. We'll also provide an option and reduce the number of wooden pencils in the market.
According to the United Nations, over 13 million hectares of forest are lost annually to deforestation, out of which 36% is for paper manufacturing and 42% is for manufacturing timber-based products that constitutes about 18 to 20 billion pencils. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has cancelled plans to attend the World Economic Forum in Davos over the ongoing energy crisis in his country. According to his spokesperson, South Africa is facing its biggest ever power crisis, with people experiencing rolling blackout of up to 6 hours a day. Ramaphosa was due to lead a government delegation to the event, but instead opted to address the most pressing issue in his country. According to his spokesperson, Vincent Mangwenya, he will instead hold talks with the leaders of political parties and the state-run power company ESCOM. He further added that President Ramaphosa had already engaged with the leadership of ESCOM and National Energy Crisis Committee. 2022 has been one of the worst years for South Africans in terms of power cuts. The country was prey to more than 200 days of load shedding as state-owned ESCOM, which supplies more than 90% of the country's electricity, failed to produce enough power.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic and war in Ukraine set global inflation soaring, food prices have become painfully expensive. As of November, the latest month on record, inflation had risen 35% year-over-year in Sierra Leone. Cookeries like this one are the cheapest options for many to grab what is often their only meal of the day.
The price have increased due to the inflation from 7 leons to 15 leons in order for you to have something that satisfies you. I do come to take my breakfast here, which sustain me for the rest of the day, and then I go to the office. Here now I'll be drinking empty hot water throughout.
Many cookeries in Freetown, the capital, sell cooked meals at a fraction of what would cost in a restaurant. They are predominantly the backbone of the city in terms of keeping it fed, as a lot of people don't have the facilities to cook at home.
Now people prioritize food feeding. They prioritize food instead of any other thing, because today staple food, rice, palm oil and vegetable is a priority for everybody now, to make sure their family gets something to eat.
Sierra Leone in July slashed 3 zeros off its currency, hoping to restore confidence in the inflation-hit country.
Business is very slow because of everyday price are changing. Like this one, we was buying it on 420, but now it's up to 440. You buy this product today, the next day is business are just flying. The prices are not so normal.
In August, riot broke out over the rising cost of living in the capital. 27 civilians and 6 police officers were killed.
That's all in international news. Time now for sports. In our sports news for today, the National Health Hospital in Lusaka has informed the nation that the former CHIPOLOPOLO captain ENOCK MWEPU is recovering well. Hospital Senior Medical Superintendent Dr. Chabuela Shumba says that MWEPU is in high spirit and that the medical team is doing assessments on him and will keep the nation abreast with what is happening. Meanwhile, Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts Elvis Nganduho visited MWEPU Monday morning, says the former CHIPOLOPOLO captain is feeling better and has called on all Zambians to remember him in prayer.
We'll get your number. I know this number. It's been recording for some time. Call you when you want to come out.
Yes, he's our patient, and he's in high spirits. And thanks to the visit by the Honorable Minister and his team. And we are still doing our assessments, and we'll be keeping you posted in due course with any new developments. But today, he says he feels much better, and he's very glad that the whole country sends his prayers to him.
I think in the nutshell, I would just say that going by the update that we've been given, that it is different from the way he came yesterday and today. Yeah, he looks happy, in a very good mood. I think all we can just say to Zambian people just to continue praying for him. I think for us who are laymen in these things, the way we found him, he is in a very good mood, in a very better state maybe. Though I didn't see him yesterday, I think better, because he said he's better today than he came yesterday.
Well, I think we came here to visit our patient, and I'm happy to report that he's in good condition. You know, we are not experts to determine how serious the situation is or whatever it is.
but I think he's in high spirit, and all we need to do is to put him in prayers. No, he's happy that we took time to visit him, and he appreciates our presence. Of course, our call to Zambians that let's continue putting our colleagues in prayer, and it was there's 2 people in there, but also our interest is to see them out of the hospital. But prayers, I think, for this particular time would do for us. That's all we need to say.
Well, as Camnet TV, we will definitely wish ENOCK MWEPU a speedy recovery. And on that sporting item, we come to the end of the main news. But before we go, let's look at the headlines that made the news. Load shedding aiding criminal activities in LUSAKA'S BARLASTONE area. The state denies committing constitutional breaches against former DPP LILLIAN SIYUNI. Government receives the draft public gatherings bill. In our international headlines, a Kenyan company turning newspapers into pencils, cutting deforestation in the process. And finally, in sports, a former CHIPOLOPOLO captain ENOCK MWEPU recovering well. We now look at the Camnet verse for today, coming from Philippians 4 verse 13. I can do everything through him who gives me strength. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire production and news crew, my name is Louisiana Lupumbo. It's bye for now. God bless and enjoy the rest of our programmings on Camnet TV.